Climate of collapse. Green ideology meets energy reality head on. Friends of Science Society, AGM, November 9th, 2022. An overview of 2022 activities. Hi, I'm Michelle Sterling for Friends of Science Society, and thanks very much for joining us tonight. I'd like to just give you a quick overview of the events of the past year. It won't be complete, it won't be chronological, but you can also read our big book of blog posts, and there you'll find links to all of our reports, our blog posts, and then also have a look at our YouTube channel. So let's get into what's been going on in the past year. A great loss. Dr. Tim Ball passed away. Timothy Francis Ball, November 5th, 1938, September 24th, 2022. The world of climate realists lost one of its greatest champions on September 24th, 2022, when Dr. Tim Ball passed away. Dr. Ball was Friends of Science Society speaker at our first annual climate science event. So we really cherish his memory. And this year, it turns out that Donna was right. Help us stop climate tyranny. As you may have seen in the press and in various types of censorship that's being put upon us in Canada and in other parts of the world, it seems that the climate ideologues want to suppress any dissent. And yet the evidence grows daily that the climate narrative, that humans are solely responsible for catastrophic warming, is falling apart. So Donna was right, and everything that you do to help us stop climate tyranny is a wonderful thing, whether it be a donation or whether it be sharing our information with family, friends, and other people in your lives. Please help us stop the craziness that's going on. One of the great things this year is we got a new website, and we're very happy with it. It's quite fluid, easy to navigate, and many people have given us excellent reviews on the new website, so please have a look around it. The downside of the past year is that the global energy crisis has simply gotten worse. Food, fuel, fertilizer, there's a shortage of everything, and now many people are moving into famine. And if you think the energy crisis is bad, wait till next winter. So, unfortunately, the people in Europe will be suffering this year, but it probably will be worse next year, and will be worse for everyone in the world, which brings us to our annual event of this past year with Dr. Ian Plimer and Joanne Nova. And Dr. Plimer's Green Murder book is a very apt description of the chaos that's happening with the energy crisis. Many people will die. As usual, our volunteers continue to turn out Cly-Sci and extracts. These are very popular with our members, and if you're not a member, join. Then you'll get the news from all around the world that you wouldn't hear in the mainstream press. And we've turned out many press releases. We're very happy with PR Web. We get very good distribution and pick up across the United States. Of course, the Canadian media still are climate laggards. They don't pick up our material. And surprise, we ended up in a report out of the UK. Deny, deceive, delay. And they actually really want to censor and block anyone like us. But we were in very good company there because we were right up there with Michael Schellenberger and Patrick Moore, Ezra Levant, Peter Sweden. So lots of very interesting commentators who I guess they thought that we were all on a par. So we're proud of that. And we are fighting back. So we'll keep you up to date on what happens with that. But one thing that's very interesting, this group, the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, that's their funny little name, they only want a monologue, And they claim that they support freedom of speech and that they only work with people who support freedom of speech. So two of their sponsors are YouTube and Facebook. And we did kind of investigative reporting showing that neither of them support freedom of speech. We had many great reports by Robert Lyman. Many thanks to Robert. What a great contributor he is. So these are some of his reports. Canada's environment. This is a very good news story. Carbon capture and storage trap talks about the cost to taxpayers. Deception versus reality. And technology dreaming. This one is very interesting because it takes the view that technology just doesn't happen overnight. It's not magic. Canada's hydrogen policy fiasco, the unstoppable growth of global GHG emissions, in fact, built right into the UNFCCC, is the fact that developing nations never need to reduce emissions. So this is an important report right here. And dirty lies about oil sands crude. This is a great one if you got to rebut some eco-nut out there. And we have many other reports on other topics. So we did this one for the Canadian Securities Administration on climate risk reporting. This comes from Dr. Tammy Nemeth, Counting Carbon Molecules. Climate injustice for all. We're addressing here the theme of climate justice and how, in fact, their plans would make it unjust for everyone. Net zero, a holy grail. That was our submission to the Net Zero Advisory Board. Climate Change in European Cultural Imperialism is by William Kay. Very interesting read. And the Clean Electricity Standard that compiles many of our writings on renewables and the potential for an east-west power grid. We also wrote many letters, open letters, to the Bank of Canada. Albertans will be interested to know that they don't even mention the tar sands campaign on their website, which is curious because this is Don Thompson from the CBC's Tipping Point program of 2011, and he's stating that as early as 2008, we were predicting peak investments of around $30 billion a year. At that level, you will see GDP impact over that 25 years of about $1.7 trillion. You'd think a bank would be interested in that. We also did this little stand-up in Calgary. And we continue our work with Clintel. We're very proud of Clintel and very pleased that the numbers are growing every week, more and more signatories. And here's our president, Ron Davison. There's a great interview with him on the Clintel website. Have a look. And so, sadly, the climate of collapse is all around us, and perhaps it will also collapse the anthropogenic global warming catastrophic narrative. But we'll have to find out about that. Hopefully we won't slide into climate tyranny. We are hoping to have an all-person event next spring, so stay tuned for those details, and be sure to read through the big book of blog posts, which will look like this. And you'll see the dozens of reports and blogs on many topics. Excuse me. So thank you for all your support. And I personally want to thank everybody for your support and your comments. Some we get by email, some we see in YouTube, some we get on Twitter and Facebook. Anyway, thank you very much. And thanks also to our board, our volunteer board, who work very hard going through all the materials that we produce and approving it. And also to our unseen helpers like Mike Visser, our producer Jay, and our volunteers helping on our social media. So thanks very much for joining us tonight. All the best. Thank you. For Friends of Science Society, I'm Michelle Sterling. Good night.